And in fact, I think your testimony was that 10 minutes after you got home, he opened the bedroom door?
I think that's what I said, yeah.
Do you want to stick with that?
I'm just trying to recollect what I, thinking it over, so obviously it was a little bit longer.
Because you actually woke up when he opened the bedroom door, correct?
I don't think so.
Did you not just testify before this jury just, I don't know, maybe an hour ago, that you fell asleep and that your son Colin opened the bedroom door and woke you up to say goodnight?
Yeah, I guess that's what I said.
Okay.
Sergeant Good and I observed that there was now a light on in the house of 34 Fairview, and we made the decision to then go in and speak with the homeowners.
Who, if anyone, did you speak with inside the home that morning?
Brian Albert and Nicole Albert.
Where did they go once you opened the door?
So he came in the house, and I believe around the same time Jennifer's husband, Matt, had come. I assume she had called him or whatever. So it was me, Brian, and Jen and Matt, and Officer Lang said, can I come in? Can I talk to you guys? And we said, sure, absolutely. He came in, we sat at the table, and he was just kind of asking us all, okay, where were you last night?
Where did you speak to them within the home?
Just inside the door by the staircase.
And beyond that, who, if anyone else, did you see within the home besides yourself, Sergeant Goods, and Mr. and Mrs. Albert?
Jennifer McCabe.
So you and Detective Sergeant Lang go into the home at 34 Fairview, and who, if anyone, did you speak to in there?
Mr. Albert, Mrs. Albert, Brian, and Nicole.
And who, if anyone else, was present in the home when you spoke with them?
When I was in there, I know Jen was in there, but we didn't speak to her because we already spoke to her, but we just spoke to Brian and Nicole right in the front room.
She said that the police were downstairs.
And so you went downstairs to talk to them?
Yes.
And when you go downstairs, what do you see when you get to sort of the bottom of the stairs?
I saw a Canton police officer downstairs.
So inside your house at that point?
Yes.
And the Canton police officer that's inside your home, did you recognize him?
Yes.
And who did you recognize him?
Last name Lank, so Officer Lank.
And initially, when you first see Officer Lank, is he by himself, or who, if any, other officers are with him?
I believe initially he was by himself.
Sergeant Good and I observed that there was now a light on in the house of 34 Fairview, and we made the decision to then go in and speak with the homeowners.
Did another officer join yourself and Officer Lank at some point?
Yes, I believe another officer came into the house.
Do you know who that officer is?
I don't. Yes, we spoke in the kitchen area.
At that point in time, I never made it past the front foyer area.
So the answer to my question is no, you did not.
I never made it past the front foyer area.
You just spoke to Brian and Nicole right in the front room.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting around the table. It was a little, everyone was, we're all in shock, and it was a little confusing.
And when you're speaking with the officer in the kitchen area, who is there?
So my wife Nicole, her sister Jen, and I believe Jen's husband Matt arrived almost the same time that I came downstairs, maybe a minute after.
That second conversation within your house, where did that?
Same area, family room, kitchen area.
Happy Mother's Day. I'm smiling. We're going to play much more video from the so-called witnesses this last week. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I finally took a night off. I was planning on maybe doing a show last night. And I just went Netflixing. We had a family day. We watched 3 movies together, which was awesome. So finally had a day off of everything. It's amazing. Saturday. and figured I would just do a quick little live tonight. I have some plans a little later, so it's not going to be too long, but I want to play some video from the last week. There's been so much video to play. We could replay and talk about it. I really appreciate John Como, who spliced a lot of this video together, these little intro videos that you see here. John Como going through it and lining up testimony, comparing words from the same people, the same, situation. Did they go in the house? Did they go in the kitchen? Conflicting testimony. So much conflicting testimony among the witnesses, among themselves with their reports and what they say on the stand. So much conflicting stuff. Karen Reed is factually innocent. And I think you have to be feeling good after this so far. It's just been amazing. And Monday, you got Brian Albert on the stand. What's going to happen with him tomorrow? There's so many questions they could ask him tomorrow on cross. What question? This is the kind of informal. We're not doing a poll tonight. We're just going to throw your comments out there. What do you think are the top things that Brian Albert will get questioned about tomorrow? Chloe, someone said his arm injury. Could be 8 million things they get. Brian Albert gets questioned about tomorrow. What do you think are the top things the defense should ask about on their hit list on Brian Albert tomorrow? Number one question. The second question is, who gave the most damaging testimony for the prosecution? Like in terms of anybody. Did anybody actually damage Karen Reed? And who actually helped Karen Reed? I think Chris Albert probably helped Karen Reed the most. I want to know who you think out of all these prosecution witnesses, who hurt Karen Reed's defense at all this last week, who helped Karen Reed's defense, and what questions tomorrow for Brian Albert. It's going to be exciting tomorrow. I also wanted to talk about something else. I want to make sure too, I thank everyone who's been contributing. It's been overwhelming, and subscribing. We've had like thousands of people subscribe over the last week, days, months. It's been insane over the 30 days. Every day gets bigger too. Like even yesterday, we didn't post or do a live show and we had more viewers. So it's been a ride. I want to thank and welcome all the new people. But I also want to make sure I thank our moderator, MJ. And I think we may be adding one or two, maybe. Got some messages from some regulars here, but MJ has been handling it all on her own, thousands. I don't think it's going to be like that tonight. I think it's going to be a more chill show. But she's been handling thousands of people. 2,000 something live just on YouTube the other night. Every show, more listeners. It's been more viewers. I guess we call them viewers now. It was amazing. Mark Betterow, the last episode with Mazda Media. If you haven't checked that episode, please check it out. And we'll be having them back tomorrow. It looks like 6 p.m. I'm kind of bummed because I think Sean's doing 6 p.m. He's back now. I love Sean back. I just was watching Sean. I'm all pumped up because of Sean. I don't want to be on the same time as Sean, actually, but it just may work out that way tomorrow night. We may adjust. If he's going to do 6 p.m., we may have to do 7:30 or 8. I don't know. We'll see. It's tough. Everyone's got different schedules and lives. We don't always try to be on at the same time, obviously. A lot of us try not to be because we like to watch each other, too. I love when but it happens. Sometimes, like the Galera, when the Galera's on with us, at the same time as us, we have fun. We go back and forth. I love the Galera. I love Sean. I love Turtle Boy. I love watching them all. Melanie Little. LTL has a big show tonight with Jessica Machado. We'll definitely check that out tonight. I'll watch that on replay. So, but I wanted to get into the craziness over here. This is so classic. Punk Rock Sue. That's what I call her, Punk Rock Sue, because Sue's been around forever. Sue had a radio show back in the day. She's been involved in alternative media, print media, the Phoenix and other places like I believe in BCN and FNX. I'm trying to remember which ones actually, but she definitely has been around for decades. I know Kiss 108 actually, she worked there too. So she's got her, she's been involved in major corporate media, independent media. She has her own newspaper that she founded. She's very politically active in a lot of different communities, the community she lives in, but also like the gay community, obviously, LGBTQ plus rights. But she's real. I like her. I know people who know her. I don't know her really well, but I know people. I know some of the best people I've ever known came up with Sue, and they like Sue. So Sue this week, she's a NBC Boston reporter for people that don't know. It's a local NBC, obviously Boston affiliate television reporter. She's also on New England Cable News, another TV network that's on all over New England. And she's also often on WGBH radio, one of the biggest radio stations in Boston, NPR affiliate. They also have a TV network. So she's very heavily media oriented, and people respect her in the city for a good reason. And she had a lot to say being in court this week. And specifically, we said this on the last show. She praised Turtle Boy. She said he was pleasant to be around. And she went on her social media and she stood up to the bullying, the clown show that's actually been going on with the press line. And it's not Turtle Boy. And she pointed that out. And she responded directly to the clown show. Here's one of the screen captures. And I told people were worried about Sue O'Connell because she's more liberal. She supports LGBTQ. Obviously, she's not going to align with Turtle Boy's views. Well, it's like me. I'm the same thing. Politically, I don't agree with Turtle Boy on a lot of stuff. But I can be honest about what's going on. And that's what I expected from Sue. And I told people that. But some people didn't trust. Well, Sue's coming through. Sue is going to play this honest. You may not agree with all her opinions. A lot of times I don't like her opinions, but I like Sue. And I trust that the good thing about Sue is she'll listen to people. She'll take it in. She's willing to change her mind. It's all you can ask, right? And she's not trying to be provocative or pick a side just because. She's just trying to do the best job she can. So that's why I told everyone, give Sue a chance. And I shouldn't even have to say that. One of the old-time media folks, Cosmo, noted on one of my things is like, what are you talking about? She's been around for decades. What do you mean give her a chance? Like, how do you have to give someone a chance who's got a proven track record for decades? It's true. But I know some of you aren't all hip on who's who. So Sue came after Grant Smith Ellis, called him out, and I think she stood up for all the press there. If you notice what's going on there, the press are fed up with Grant. He's acting like a gangster with that line. He's trying to shake down the local press. Here she is calling it out. And notice how she posed too with her arms crossed. She's posing with her arms crossed, just like Grant posed with his arms crossed in that infamous video where he got vile and disgusting against Aiden, screamed at him, said it was his line. Hats off to Sue O'Connell. S.E. O'Connell. I'm impressed. I'm very happy she did this. And I'm glad to see the local press is realizing what actually is going on. People are trying to silence speech. And Grant Smith Ellis is much more of a distraction, more intimidating than anybody. And the DA, Norfolk County, is fine with that. This guy. So I was encouraged by that. And someone said, Mike, you should have you reached out to Sue O'Connell, have her on your show? Yes, I have. Hopefully she says yes. I think she wants to. It's whether she gets approval from her employer. Remember when we said on the show that having Grant there was the best thing for free Karen Reed? Thank you for Jimmy H for becoming a new member tonight. We keep talking about we're going to have to do a member show. We definitely do. We are due. I just don't want to restrict people. I kind of like people just supporting us because they want to support us, but eventually I do want to do a member show. But right now, it's like we all know this. We're all team Karen Reed on this, right? And it's about getting as many people to watch and listen. So it seems kind of counterproductive to restrict right now, especially when you're at our level. All right. So I want to play more video. I still haven't seen any comments tonight. I see a lot of comments, but I haven't seen too many comments on what video you want me to play tonight. Who do you want to review? Who was the most damaging for the prosecution case tonight? Who kind of screwed the, you know what? I think Chris Albert. You could also say Julie Albert. And we don't know about the big dog tomorrow. I think his may in the end, but we don't know. Julie Albert, somebody said. Julie Albert's been the best for the defense. Because she said bukkake. The gum chewing, yeah. Nicole Albert. Julie and Brian. Yeah, but Brian hasn't, Brian's probably been the best for the prosecution, but that's because we haven't seen the cross yet. I think Brian may end up being best for the defense. It's going to be interesting to see. I think Chris Albert, too. Chris Albert has helped the defense the most. His attitude. Let me watch this again. Let's just watch this one more time.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to play that. Probably going to get whacked from Twitter. That's so funny. From YouTube. They are ridiculous lately. All right. Let's play it from the beginning.
And in fact, I think your testimony was that 10 minutes after you got home, he opened the bedroom door?
I think that's what I said, yeah.
Do you want to stick with that?
I'm just trying to recollect what I, thinking it over. So obviously it was a
Yeah, that's a good one. Solo cup leaf blowing police. That was definitely good for the defense. And Katie too. We got some video. We still got to go back to Katie. I mean, Katie was like Attorney Betterow said the other night. She was like a lighter version, but she's just so entertaining. Yeah, I think Chris Albert definitely has that deer in the headlights look. Touching his ears. Yeah, Chris. I don't want to make fun of not being able to say words. I have the same issue a lot of times. Chris Albert, myself, and Joe Biden all have that issue. We stumble over words. It's verbal, not written. It's like verbal dyslexia. Yeah, he was nervous. So, yeah, I think Chris was one of the ones best for the defense this week. And I think his brother, Monday, tomorrow, is going to be one of the best. Oh, I need to announce tomorrow. I think I already did. Tomorrow night, looks like 6 p.m. Monday night. Attorney Betterow back on the show, and hopefully Mazda Media, 6 p.m. And we'll be reviewing the full day. Yeah, I'm just reading your comments right now. What's that say? Your brain is what? Your brain is moving faster than your mouth, so stumbles happen. Exactly. I think it's a sign that you're thinking too quickly. If I slow down, I can speak more clearly. Is there a record of what's discussed at sidebars? I don't know. That's a good question. I'll ask Attorney Betterow maybe that on Monday night. I don't think so. I could be wrong. If it is, I imagine it gets hidden. I'm not sure. All right, we got a lot of comments coming in. 584 you listen on YouTube right now. About 825 total. Thank you so much for watching. Let's play a little more video tonight.
A little
Chris
bit
Albert.
longer.
Because you actually woke up when he opened the bedroom door, correct?
Look at that.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think I'm lying there. That was a tell. I mean, Jesus Christ. Look at this guy. So freaking nervous. Who does that? I touch my ears during the show because of the headphones after a while, but geez, dude, look at this. This is a
Opened
weird
the
one.
bedroom door, correct?
Look at the eyes, too. Boom. It's kind of creepy.
I don't think
And then he squints. First he stares at him like that, and then he looks.
so.
Did you not just testify before this jury just, I don't know, maybe an hour ago, that
The timeline. Totally obliterated. That's why I think this is one of the best parts of the whole last week, you know?
you fell asleep and that your son Colin opened the bedroom door and woke you up to say goodnight?
Yeah, I guess that's what I said.
Okay.
You see that silence? That was perfect. Just waiting for him to say it. Yeah, I guess that's what I said. Boom. You sure you want to stick with that? You sure you want to stick with that, Chris Albert? Timeline obliterated. It's funny how Kevin and some of the other trolls out there that they know they're losing. They have to feel like they're losing at this point. I mean, all of our numbers are going through the roof, like in a way that they never have before. The last couple days and weeks, they're losing. All the new people are coming to Free Karen Read. And in court, it looks the same. And we haven't even gotten to the big stuff yet. It's going to get worse and worse and worse for this prosecution. And Kevin and them are now saying, well, because they brought out Eliza Little, who destroyed a witness, that was a sign of weakness that the defense was losing, that they had to bring in Eliza Little. I think that was the plan all along. I think they have a 1, 2, 3 killer punch. I think they just, why wouldn't you? And especially when you're questioning a woman. Liza Little is just as good as Alan Jackson and David Yannetti. All three of them are so far superior over Adam Lally. It's like the dream team Boston Celtics playing my high school basketball team. Seriously. They're not even state champs either. The year I graduated, they were average, if that. Playing against Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Bill Walton, Robert Parrish. No chance. No chance.
It was at this
I'm not gonna play that one again. You know what I want to play? I want to play Katie McLaughlin a little more, and then I'm gonna play more Chris.
That I recall.
1, 2,
I don't recall ever being there.
2 seconds, 3, 4, 5. What are you doing?
I don't recall ever being there. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I have no recollection of ever being at her house.
6, 7. Why aren't you trying to go get something?
I don't know. I don't know.
More than 8 years?
I don't know.
9, 10.
What is he
11, 12.
You'll never get it.
I have no idea. I don't know.
What was the event?
I don't know.
What beach? I'm not as familiar with the location.
I'm not sure.
Anything this way?
14, 15, 16.
I'm so.
Did I go to the beach at some point with these people? Yes.
Okay, all those folks.
I don't know.
17,
I'm
18.
sorry, sir.
When did you go to the beach with all those folks?
I don't know. I don't know when this picture is from.
Have you?
It's-
I think you're not going
20
to win.
seconds.
I don't know. It could be around high school. I'm not. They both look old to me. I don't know when they're from.
A few moments later.
I don't remember specifically what or where this is. I don't know. I don't know where this is.
Later.
I don't know where.
Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, my wife, Caitlin, and Nicole.
Thank you for correcting.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry.
So at some point shortly after that, or at some point, who, if anyone else, arrives and sort of joins your table?
So my brother Brian and a gentleman named Brian Higgins, they came and joined us.
And is Brian Higgins, is that someone that you had met previously?
Yeah, a few times.
And how did you know him?
I don't know how I initially met him, but probably just seen him around. I knew that he worked as an ATF agent. I knew that he worked inside the Canton Police Department, so I think I knew him from that, just being around.
Fair to say you knew him sort of through your brothers, either Brian or Kevin or both?
Yeah, that's the only way I met him.
And about how long after you arrived was it that they arrived?
I would probably within like 35 minutes, roughly.
And what, if anything, did you know about sort of where they had been prior to or what they had been doing earlier?
So they were in New York at a police officer's funeral. They went there for the ceremony, and the snowstorm was coming, so they decided that they were going to drive back early to beat the storm.
You mentioned, as far as going out on that particular evening, what was that in reference to?
So my nephew, Brian, it was his birthday.
And so when you say your nephew, Brian, whose son is that?
So that's my older brother, Brian's son, Brian.
So Brian Jr.?
Brian Jr., yeah, I call him Brian Jr.
And was he present at the waterfall that night?
He wasn't. No, he decided that he didn't want to go out.
And when your older brother Brian and Mr. Higgins come in, where is it that they go sort of in relation to?
So they walk in and they come directly over to the table.
Now, at some point later in the evening, who, if anyone else, also joins your group or your table?
So John O'Keefe came with Karen Reed.
And how did you know Karen Reed at that time?
I met her a couple times. She also had been in the pizza shop a couple times, and driving by the street when I would come home, she would be outside One Meadows.
And just to be clear, when we're speaking about Ms. Reed, who's here in the courtroom today,
Yes, I do.
you just identify as where she's seated.
She's sitting right over there between the two attorneys.
That's a record reflect identification. Okay. Now, prior to Mr. O'Keefe coming into the waterfall, you had mentioned some text communications with him, is that correct?
Yes.
And what, if any, other communications did you have with Mr. O'Keefe before you got there?
I don't think nothing before I got to the waterfall.
Not before you got to the waterfall, before Mr. O'Keefe got to the waterfall.
With Mr. O'Keefe.
Wow. We just got a huge super chat. Couple super chats. Wow, this is amazing right here. Thank you so much. Peggy just gifted 20 Young Jerks memberships. A bunch of you, 20 of you are going to become members. We got a good number of members now. It's mostly through the gift memberships. Thank you so much, Peggy. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And Free Karen Reed just made a $5 donation and made a great comment. Said Liza is a partner at Jackson's firm. Why else bring her in if you aren't going to use her? Exactly. And if she's a partner at Jackson's firm, that's like major. Like it's big time. She owns a piece. You guys wish you owned a piece. At that age, too, she seems pretty young. She's like an all-star, dude. Amazing. Good point, Free Karen Reed. And thank you for the $5 donation. Amazing. So true. Compared to these jokers over here. Look at this guy. These guys, Berkey, and I loved how Chris Albert pretended he wasn't friends with Berkey. Like they're all not all friends. Higgins, who hosted the party for Berkowitz, is palling around with Chris's older brother. They're not all best friends. Look at them all. Of course they are. Friends. They're all friends. This is so friendly right here, right? Very friendly people. Very friendly.
Yes.
Just that where was he or where were we going? Where was he going to be?
What any communications do you recall in regards to who was there, who was going to?
With Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think at some point he said, who's there? And I said, my brother Brian. I said, Brian. And he said, your brother Brian? I said, yeah, Brian and Brian Higgins are there. And he said, where's your brother Kevin? And I said, I have no clue. LOL or something.
And when Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed come into the bar, where is it that they go upon coming back?
They walked directly in, came towards our table, just a strike up conversation. I think John came over to my wife and said hello to her first, maybe.
And you know what's funny too is it also shows again. I hate to say it, but it's so true. I hate to use this word all the time. The misogyny. We always pick on the woman, especially young, successful women. They do it to Karen. They do it to Liza Little. They do it to Olivia. They do it to every Jessica Machado. They hate these smart, successful, independent women. And Liza Little to go after her. It's funny because Betterow has been on the show and he talked a few times recently about he thought that the defense should have followed up with more questions. And it wasn't the Liza Little cross. He was actually kind of criticizing the dudes who are the sharks. So it's very interesting that they go after Liza, who had no criticism. I didn't hear any criticism on her cross that she didn't ask enough questions or the right questions. She actually destroyed. She did very well. Kevin loves to go after the woman, just like Grant does. They love that. They get off on it for some reason. It's weird.
And then just kind of go out with the group, start talking.
Now, there's a Mr. O'Keefe knew your wife, Julie, as well.
Yes.
And how would you describe their relationship as far as?
Good relationship.
And when Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant come over to the area where you and your wife is, what, if anything, did you observe the defendant?
Well, when they came over, I think they started talking. At one point, when they first came over, the defendant came in with a glass underneath her jacket. And I thought that was kind of funny, and I laughed about it and made a comment about it.
And what, if anything, did you notice sort of about the glass? What was in the glass?
It was just a tall, like, cylinder glass with some clear liquid in it and a lime.
And that was under a coat when she came.
Yeah, it was like she pulled it out.
It's funny, Chris. I wonder if it was funny when your wife brought out the White Claw. Right? That was Chris's wife that took out the White Claw, right? Was that funny too? Did you think that was funny? I think it's funny. It could be projection. I see a lot of projection from people like Grant. I wonder if Chris and his crew are projecting. Because that's what we saw. We saw a White Claw, didn't we? Did Karen actually have a glass? Is he talking about Karen here? I think he is. Interesting. Who had the White Claw? It was Chris's wife, right?
Oh.
Or was that Brian's wife? I'm not sure. I'm confused now.
if you know about what time was it that
Nicole. It was Nicole with the White Claw. Okay. Wasn't Julie. It's tough. I get them mixed up. Julie and Nicole. You got so many Albert brothers. Now we have to keep track of all their wives too. But I wonder if he thought it was funny when Nicole Albert left with a White Claw. Was that funny too, Chris? Or was it only funny when you're trying to frame someone up? I don't know. Free Karen Reed said $20. Said, I also spoke to a retired death investigator who worked with the ME. They called her an idiot and told them the feds had her write a statement that retracts her original statement that it couldn't be a fight or altercation. If that's true, that's going to be something to see, maybe on the stand. I believe she's on the prosecution list, isn't she? I believe so. Thank you for the $20 donation and the speculation. Well, as we say, hearsay, but hearsay from law enforcement is always juicy. So let's hope they're right. I would not doubt it. I mean, I think the red flag, why the feds would be all over that, and anyone who is investigating it, is what was written in that there was no conclusion, but it couldn't be a fight. You know what I mean? It's so obvious what happened there. It was an Annie Dukin situation, a medical examiner trying to please the state police. So that will get interesting. There's so many avenues that this case breaks on. I can't wait till tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Oh, 6 p.m. Excuse me. 6 p.m. with attorney Mark Betterow again, back in the show. And we got a full day of testimony tomorrow. I'm going to try to stream the morning. I'm not sure about the afternoon, if I'll be able to kick it right back up. I may have to take a break, just the way it's going. I don't want to chance any weird copyright strikes, because the streams we use, if we're not there when it shuts down, it can be very problematic. So definitely be streaming Brian Albert in the morning, but not sure after that for the afternoon. But tomorrow night, 6 p.m., we'll definitely be live with a recap show with attorney Mark Betterow. Play a little more Chris Albert tonight.
So I got there close to 10, I would say 10:45-ish.
And I see quite a few of you now are watching too, to 6:51 on YouTube. Question of the night: what do you think the defense should ask in the cross of Brian Albert? What are the best? There's so many angles. Could ask him about his alleged arm injury when he had his arm in a sling. Could ask him about the resale of the home. Could ask him about Chloe. Could ask him about timelines. Could ask him about the butt dialing, Higgins, Berkowitz. There's so much to ask him about. Where would you start? What do you think the best points, the best questions to ask Brian Albert tomorrow? That's what I want to see in the comments tonight. What's going to happen with Brian Albert tomorrow? I think they got so many angles. I think it could be a long day. A very long day for Brian Albert tomorrow.
To the best of my recollection.
and following sort of the blows and all that kind of stuff, as far as after they first came in, where did they go?
I think the defendant sat down, and I think John went to the bar and got a beer.
And is that sort of what John would typically drink?
Yeah, Bud Light, I think.
And you mentioned that the defendant sat down. Where does she sit down in relation to you and your wife?
I think right next to, next to my wife.
Now, you guys are laying all the good questions. Here's a good one. The destruction of his phone and his record of violence against other cops. Oh my God. Amazing. Yeah. How many people has he punched out? Will the judge allow that? But the destruction of his phone, I can't imagine why they wouldn't allow that. That's a great comment, Mizzy. There's so many comments coming in right now on it. Thank you so much. I love the comments. I'm trying to get back to them because there's been so many of them. Yeah, how do you sleep through everything? Yeah, about sleeping through everything, not hearing. Your dog wasn't barking that morning? Someone said, what pictures were you showing to Higgins upstairs? I'm surprised Lally didn't ask that question. That's the type of question Lally asked. Question is Higgins on the list that TV can't be there for? I'm not sure. Not sure. I'm not sure when Higgins is going to get called. Tomorrow, Brian Albert. We know we're getting Brian Albert's cross. I don't think Higgins is on the list. Because I think that's like Brian Albert, Chris Albert, Tully, Proctor, Jen McCabe. You want to ask about the phone records? Absolutely. I'm sure the phone records will come up tomorrow. Yeah, this is a big one. Big one right there. The cellar floor people want to hear about, phone records. How do you sleep through it? The destruction of the phone has to come up. There is so much with him tomorrow. Olivia Nile got it right. This is why I want to come up tonight, just to celebrate. I mean, if Chris Albert got this, what do you think Brian's going to get tomorrow? Brian Albert on the stand. And is he going to snap? Right now, he's very, answers the questions. He's probably been the strongest kind of witness in terms of just, is he going to stand up? I don't think he will. I think he may snap. Says Brian Albert's going to forget where his ass is after AJ is done with him tomorrow. That's what Olivia Nile says. I think so. Is it going to be AJ crossing him? I bet that would probably be the best call tomorrow. And that's the thing about the beauty of having a bench, having 3 all-stars, is you can plan each one to question certain witnesses so that they focus and narrow in on that witness and make it really extra special. And also you can tailor who gets what witness based on the personalities. Can do good matchups. Matchups are big. When I used to be a wrestling coach with dual meets, matchups were very key. Could determine a match. If you had depth, if you had ability to move people around, and they have depth. That's the beauty of it. And I think Olivia's probably right. AJ is probably the one for Brian Albert, personality-wise. But you never know. Imagine they could throw up the curveball and throw up Eliza Little. Imagine that. Just to throw him off. Maybe they've figured out that he's got an issue with women. You know what I mean? You never know. But I would go on Olivia. I have a feeling Olivia probably has some info on who's going to actually do the cross tomorrow. She seems to think it's AJ. Ruby said it's AJ. Everyone's confirming it's AJ. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, he objected, so it would be him. Good pickup, people. You guys are right on it. Thank you so much. So it's going to be Alan Jackson, definitely. Awesome. I can't wait to watch it. Like all of you. You guys got all these questions coming in. See, I asked for it. I asked for all these questions. Now I can't keep up with them. You got all the questions. There's a lot of questions that you would throw up for him. And I believe it starts at 9 a.m. Is that right, everyone? I remember some started at 10 a.m. for some reason. But I believe tomorrow is another 9 a.m. start, full day of court. Which is great because we're going to get Brian Albert all day probably. I guess another question is how long you think Brian Albert will last for? How long do you think this cross will be? Depends how many objections Lally raises, how many sidebars. That's the thing that kills me on this. They complain about wasting time when the defense has questions, but they let Lally go on and on about BS that has nothing to do with the case. And then they have all these sidebars that just kill time. If they get rid of the sidebars, we'd be so far ahead in this case. They should be limiting those sidebars. What did someone say? Mike, what the F did your politics mean? I haven't mentioned politics tonight. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I haven't mentioned politics tonight. I don't know. Sometimes I look at the comments that come in. I'm just like, what are you talking about? I mean, we're talking about social media. I don't know. We're not talking about politics tonight. We're talking about Chris and Brian Albert and what's going to happen on Monday.
Hard how would you describe sort of the general sort of tone or demeanor within the group at the waterfall that night?
It was fine. Everyone's just having a good time.
So no arguments, anything like
No,
that?
not at all.
And specifically between Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant, what, if anything, did you observe between them?
I didn't notice anything abnormal.
If you recall, what was Mr. O'Keefe wearing on that evening?
Blue jeans, baseball hat, and kind of like a pullover light sweatshirt type of grayish garment. I don't know what you would call it. It wasn't like a hoodie, and it wasn't. It's like a long sleeve shirt.
Is that what he was wearing when he walked in?
Yes.
At any point in time, did you see him with like a jacket or anything like that?
No.
Now, as far as your observations of Mr. O'Keefe, what, if anything, did you observe about that clothing as far as any tears or any shovelment of it at all?
No, I didn't notice anything. It looked fine to me.
As far as Mr. O'Keefe, his person himself, what, if anything, did you observe as far as any injuries or anything like that?
Didn't see anything. Looked normal.
Now, after Mr. O'Keefe went to the bar and got a beer, do you know where he went from there?
Just came back over to the table, started chatting people up.
And when you say the table, was that sort of your area or was there a different area?
No, the same table, the same high top. Some people sitting, some people standing.
And as far as sort of this length that you described, about 6 feet or so of that table, if you recall, sort of where were people situated around the table?
I mean, I was sitting at one point because I was eating, so I was sitting in one seat. My wife was sitting in another seat. Matt and Jen was sitting in another seat. I recall John standing a lot. I don't think he sat at all. I think Karen was sitting at one point, probably like situated near, maybe across from my wife or next to my wife.
Now, as far as Mr. O'Keefe was concerned, do you recall anything specific that you discussed or talked about while you were there that night?
No, nothing in particular.
And throughout sort of the course of the time that you were there, what, if any, discussion was there as to going someplace or wanting to go someplace after the waterfall?
So we have this like little ritual that when one of my nieces or nephews turn 21, we go back to the pizza shop, like, you know, after hours and turn on the oven and make pizzas and stuff. And there was talk about going back there. Miss Reed asked if we could go back and make pizzas up at my pizza shop a couple times. And then there was some talk about maybe after someone mentioned going back to my brother's house after.
And just to be clear, your brother's house was brother?
My brother Brian.
And where did your brother Brian live?
34 Fairview.
You familiar with that address?
Yeah, I used to live there, grew up there.
So prior to it being your brother Brian's house, was that your parents' house?
My parents' house, yeah.
That's where you and your siblings essentially grew up from the time that you moved to Canada?
Yes.
Wow. Now the super chat, we got a super chat. Amy in Boston gived us 5 Young Jerk memberships. 5 more of you tonight are going to become free members this month on Amy in Boston. Thank you so much, Amy. Irish in Boston, I believe it is. She's got 2, she's got some Irish in her handle there. Thank you so much, Amy in Boston.
Now, as far as going over to your pizza shop to make pizzas, things like that, is that something that the defendant talked about once or more than once?
A few times.
And you referenced sort of this ritual when one of your nieces or nephews turned 21. And it was your nephew Brian Jr.'s birthday the following day, is that correct?
Yeah.
Was he turning 21 at that point?
I think so. I can't remember exactly if he was 20 or 21. I think he was turning 21 now.
So in relation to this evening of January 28th, the ritual that you were talking about, when was the last time before January 28th that you had done that?
Trying to see who else turned 21. Can't remember exactly. I know it was recent. I remember doing it. I just can't remember the date.
And that's all I'm really asking. So
Yeah.
was it recent to January 28th?
Yeah, it was sometime before that, but within like a couple months, I think someone turned 21. Maybe we just went there.
And so what, if any, conversation from your end, as far as obviously it's your pizza shop, so
Yeah.
what, if any, conversation from your end was there in reference to
To doing that night. So we were doing a weight loss competition, me, Matt McCabe, and my brother Brian. And we had like 2 more weeks left in it, and we do it. Every year it's like a charity. We do it, and the proceeds go to like scholarship funds. So I said no because we were doing this weight loss challenge, and I just didn't want to give in and
Weight loss, but they go to the bar.
eat pizza 2 weeks before we weigh in.
And your wife, Julie, how long was she at the bar for?
Not long when I got there. She probably was only there for maybe 35, 40 minutes. She had a migraine. She wanted to go home, so she left.
So she indicated she had a migraine and she was going home?
Yeah, she didn't feel well.
And was that before or after Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed left?
She left after they arrived. So then she must have left later than that. Yeah.
Now, later on in the evening, what, if anything, did you buy for the group?
So at one point towards the end of the night, I bought a round of fireball shots for the group.
And
Seriously. Fireball shots, dude? Are you serious? Maybe I'm just not a booze bag. I thought like you only did that when you went to Bridgewater State College, or maybe a couple years after. Like fireball, I bought everyone a round of fireball shots. What's next? The shooters? You're gonna have the oh my god, seriously. Fireball shots. How old are you, dude? Look at this dude. Friggin' fireball shots. Dude, at least get some Jägermeister or something. Get a little scotch or something. I don't know. I don't do shots. I don't do any of this stuff. I smoke weed. But Jesus Christ, fireball. I bought a round of fireball. This guy is in debt. He's up debt to his eyeballs. He's got a contest to raise money to diet. He's doing fireball shots. Dude, he's like my age. What the do people really do this? Someone got mad at me the other night because I was saying who has an after hours party, 50+ years old, and after the bar, last call closes, invites people back from the bar. One dude's like, you just because you're a wimp and you don't party anymore. It's like, yeah, dude, I have a life. I could see if you're single at 50, newly single and going out to parties and stuff. But geez, dude, these people have families and grown kids and hanging out with the townies, bringing them back to their house. It's just weird. It's I got fireball shot. I haven't bought anyone fireball shots in 25 years. I haven't bought anyone a shot in decades. If I'm gonna buy anyone a drink, it's a beer or a Coke. Maybe for the girl, I might get her a vodka tonic or something like that, a gin and tonic, whatever, vodka soda. But I'm not buying rounds of fireball shots for the crew. I don't know. Maybe if we went to the high school reunion party or something like that, or I saw my friends I haven't seen in 20 years, maybe, I guess. But it's just funny. This just seems like a regular thing that they do. Every Friday night, Chris is wild and buys everyone a round of fireball shots. He's the fireball shots guy. I can't get over that.
Who partook in that?
I don't remember exactly. Probably half of the people there took them. I don't remember everyone. I wasn't paying attention.
And when you say sort of towards the end of the night, when was it that things sort of wrapped up?
I think they called last call right before 12. Pretty much right before 12, it all started wrapping up.
And as far as the group that you were with at the high top table, who, if anyone, from that group?
So my wife left first, obviously. She didn't feel well. She left
Exactly.
earlier.
Potato skins and chicken
Brian
tendon.
and Brian left. My sister-in-law
And
left.
fireball
Matt
shots.
and Jen left.
Those are diet skins.
I left probably second to last. I probably left last with John and Karen, or right around the time that John and Karen left.
And do you recall, as far as you're leaving around the same time, do you recall walking out together or seeing them outside, or where is it that you recall sort of leaving at the same time?
My best recollection is I walked out roughly the same time, and I walked out the building, and I come up Washington to the right, and they were either shortly after, or shortly before me, and they walk up to the left.
And when you say walk up Washington, did you walk home that night?
Yeah, I walked home.
And when you came out of the bar, what, if anything, did you notice sort of about the weather or what was going on?
It just started snowing. It was cold out, and it just started snowing. The ground had like a light coat.
Could you still sort of see the street?
Oh, yeah, you can still see it.
And you mentioned you walked out towards Washington, and Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed did as well?
Yes.
And which direction? Did you go in the same direction, different direction?
But when you come out the building, you have to go to the left in order to get onto Washington. So I come out to the left and then go to the right onto Washington, and they would go to the left on Washington.
They were sort of walking
Opposite directions.
on Washington.
Yes.
Now, as far as throughout sort of the course of the evening, did you have occasion to see sort of what Mr. O'Keefe, you mentioned that he went to the bar, you got a beer. Was that the only beer that you saw him having, or did you have more than one?
I'm sure you have more than one. Yeah, I saw him with more than one.
So you saw him, but essentially what I'm asking is throughout the course of the evening when you saw him drinking, other than maybe a fireball shot, you saw him just drinking beer.
Just beer.
And as far as Miss Reed was concerned, what if anything did you observe her drinking?
Just a clear liquid in a glass. I assume it was some sort of vodka drink.
Was that the same glass that she had come into the establishment with under her coat, or was it a different glass later on?
I believe it was the same one.
So you leave from the waterfall and you're walking home, is that right?
Correct.
So say you didn't go to 34 Fairview then?
I did not.
And about what time was it that you got?
Sometime between, I'd say 5 past and 10 past 12, somewhere in that window.
And was your wife home at that point?
She was.
I'm half expecting this dude and his brothers to get home and do a keg stand. Colin came home, and I know it was like 12, because that's when we did our first keg stand together that night. He held me up. Someone noted that these are the ones that they do the fireballs, they drink with their kids, they got the middle finger up in all their pictures with their kids, or the fist.
And as far as your children were concerned, how many of your 3 sons were living with you at that time?
At that time, 2. My 16-year-old, well, he wasn't 16 years old at the time, but my 16-year-old and my 20-year-old.
And so 16 and 20 now is actually.
16 and 20 now, so that'd be like 14 and 18 then, I guess.
And so your oldest son.
He was in the Navy, San Diego in the Navy.
He's going to the Navy. So how about this? You think they talk a lot of shit, these people? You think they talk a lot of shit? I bet they talk a lot of shit. I bet that they're very arrogant. I bet they bully their friends and say it's only joking. I wonder if they bought John O'Keefe a fireball shot that night. Karen didn't get a fireball shot from Chris, did she? I don't think so. Who was doing all the fireball shots? He said he bought a round. Who did he get those for? Was it Brian Albert and Brian Higgins? I wonder who got the shots. It doesn't seem like John O'Keefe or Karen got a fireball. I don't know. Maybe they did. Does anyone know who got the fireballs?
And if you know, or did you check or anything as far as your kids when you got home? Were they there? No.
No, I ran right upstairs. I was freezing. I went right into my room.
He don't remember. He don't remember. Yeah. They always don't remember when it's something inconvenient for them. You guarantee he would remember if it was Karen who had that shot with him. Yeah, I was buying Karen rounds of fireballs. He'd be saying that. He don't remember because he bought it for Brian. He bought it for the Bryans. That's who he bought it for, right? Doesn't want people to know that they were all tanked up on fireballs. So transparent, man.
With the court permission, I would ask to publish for the jury just a small portion from what's been marked as Exhibit 53, the waterfall surveillance. Ms. Gilman, if I could have from Channel 3 the second video now.
Watch what protein shakes do to your body.
Mr. Albert, looking up the screen, do you recognize generally what's picked up on the screen?
Yeah, so those are the tables that I was speaking of that are like, there's like 2 or 3 in a row. Yep.
I'm sorry, can I approach on? Yes.
I don't have any.
My apologies. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, I fucked that up. Oh, I just play where I was. Hold on.
Says things like that. is that something that the defendants talked about once or more than once?
A few times.
And you referenced sort of this ritual when one of your nieces or nephews turned 21. And it was your nephew Brian Jr.'s birthday the following day, is that correct?
Yeah,
Was he turning 21 at that point?
I think so. I can't remember exactly if he was 20 or 21. I think he was turning 21 though.
So in relation to this evening of January 28th, the ritual that you were talking about, when was the last time before January 28th that you had done that?
More in that window.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could ask you to fast forward to 10:54. And where was that?
At my condo.
I'm sorry, I don't think I asked to approach.
Good, that's fine.
Thank you. I've placed a document before you, sir. Just take a look at that and tell the jury whether or not you recognize it.
Yeah, I recognize it.
What is it?
It's a text message. 2 text messages.
Okay. And who are the participants in that text message exchange?
Me and John.
And what is it that you said and at what time?
So the first one.
Okay. One over.
We got another super chat. Thank you so much, Free Karen Reed. Also on Twitter, sent us $5, and they ordered potato skins and chicken tenders. He wanted to note about Chris Albert. Thank you so much for the donation. And Luna's mom, 24, she's been a member for 4 months now. She's left a message, vodka for pounds lost, loser. Thank you so much for the donations tonight.
She wasn't talking gibberish, correct?
No.
She was engaging in normal conversation and she appeared to be under control?
Yeah.
And would you agree with me that she also appeared to be affectionate with John O'Keefe?
I wasn't really watching their interactions too much, to be honest.
But in any case, you never saw any arguing between the two of them?
I wasn't really paying attention to their
And you
interactions.
You didn't perceive any tension between them, correct?
I didn't notice anything irregular.
Okay. And from your observations of Karen Reed that night, and you were there probably over 2 hours, were you not?
Total? About that, yeah.
From your observations of Karen that night, you would have had no problem with her driving a car, correct?
I wouldn't even have thought about it.
Okay.
Wow. Blowing up in Lally's face.
Would you agree with me that of the group that you had met out, that you were the last person to leave the waterfall on January 29th of 2022?
I believe so.
Now, you previously, well, you testified on direct examination today, I believe, that you thought you got home between 12:05 and 12:10 a.m. on January 29th, correct?
That's what I remember.
If I suggested to you that you didn't even leave the bar until 12:13 a.m., would you quarrel with that?
Would I quarrel with it?
Yes.
No, I guess not. I mean,
And is your memory exhausted as to the precise time that you left the bar?
is it exhausted?
Right. In other words, do you not remember the precise time that you left the bar that early morning?
It's over 2 years ago. I don't know the precise time.
Right.
That's why I said between 12:05 and 12:10.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you. Could we have Exhibit 50? Well, with the court's permission, can I publish Exhibit 53? It's a short clip from the waterfall. Sure.
Because
Any pizza is from the waterfall.
I don't follow you. I'm sorry.
Okay. So let's take it step by step. D&E Pizza to the waterfall. Are they on the same street?
Yes,
How many establishments, if you know, are between D&E Pizza and the waterfall?
just a few.
Okay, so it's a very short walk from
Yes.
D&E Pizza to the waterfall,
Yes.
correct? Your home on Maple Street is not on the same street as the waterfall, correct?
It's off of the same street.
But it's not on the same street.
No,
And your home on Maple Street is farther from the waterfall than D&E Pizza is to the waterfall. Is it not?
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't understand it earlier.
No, I know. I'm trying to work through this because, again, I'm not trying to trick you here. I just want to get the answer. So you would agree with me that it would take you longer to walk home from the waterfall than it would take you to walk to the waterfall from D&E Pizza?
Correct.
All right. And I believe you said that one walk was 7 minutes and one walk.
Tommy says for me to get the YouTube premium. We have it here at the house, I think, or something. I don't know. But I could just turn the ads off of my own videos I'm playing too, but it's all right. You guys only get like a half a second of it. Come on. Tommy. It is true though. I could just do that. I got too much shit to do. Next is getting a haircut. I got so much shit done this weekend. I feel really proud. Next is a haircut. Next weekend, I'm getting a haircut too. One thing at a time.
Was maybe less than 5 minutes, correct?
Yes.
All right. The 7-minute walk would have been the walk home as opposed to the walk to the waterfall, correct?
Yes.
All right. So you have agreed that you left the bar at 12:13, almost 12:14, according to the video, and it would have taken you about 7 minutes to walk home, correct?
Not exactly sure how. I think
Can I see Councilor Tevin, please?
If you're leaving the bar like close to 12:14, as indicated on the video, you're getting home somewhere around 12:19, 12:20, correct?
roughly, yeah.
And what were you wearing that night?
Blue jeans, sneakers, I think, and a sweatshirt.
And it had started to snow by that point.
A little bit.
So the ground was a little bit either slushy or wet.
Not slushy, but could have been wet.
Could have been wet. And the snow had not yet started to accumulate, or had it?
It didn't start.
All right. So you're walking home, but it was cold, correct?
Correct.
And would you agree that in the best case scenario, you might have had a little bit more clothing on for that cold walk home?
I think I had a sweatshirt on.
Right, but you could have used something else, right?
Oh, probably.
In light of the weather?
Probably.
All right, because you testified that by the time you got home, you were pretty cold, right?
Correct.
You hadn't, if it had been about a 5-minute walk, that was enough time for you to walk in almost shivering, correct?
Sure.
And given that there was precipitation, the snow had started, the sweatshirt would absorb the moisture as opposed to repel it, correct?
Sure.
And so you were wet as well when you walked in, right?
Sure.
And by that point in time, you were tired, correct?
I don't remember if I was tired, but
Okay.
I don't remember if I was tired at that point.
Okay. You had worked all day?
Correct.
Till late in the day, actually into the evening, correct?
Correct.
Taking pizzas in and out of a hot oven,
Correct.
as well as other food.
Appreciate that, Kevin, that comment. Thank you.
And you're now, and by the way, you had a couple of drinks or a few drinks, whatever it was, at the waterfall, correct?
Correct.
And you decided not to go to your brother Brian Albert's house, correct?
Correct.
That was in part because you weren't up for the continued partying at that point, correct?
Yeah, I just want to go home.
Right. And so when you got home, would you agree with me that your first priority would have been getting out of the wet clothes that you were in?
Correct.
And where would you have done that within your
In my
home?
bedroom.
And is this a townhouse? Or is it a freestanding residence?
It's a condominium.
Condominium? How many floors?
There's 3 floors.
And your bedroom's on the top floor?
Correct.
And the entrance is ground level?
Correct.
When you first entered the home in those wet clothes, where was your wife, Julie?
Upstairs in the bedroom.
And was she already washed up and ready for bed?
She was lying in bed.
And where did you go when you walked in the ground level?
I went up to the bedroom.
All right.
Took off my clothes, jumped in bed.
All right. And do you have a master bath with regard to your bedroom?
Scratch. He scratches a
Where you
lot.
brush your teeth?
He knows
Yeah.
where this is
And
going.
washed up?
But I did. That's where I would do those things, but I didn't do them.
You didn't do either of those?
No.
Okay. Did you grab a drink of water before you went to bed?
Nope.
All right. So you essentially came home, and I think we agreed it was around 12:20 or so, give or take a minute.
Roughly.
And you made a beeline for your bedroom.
Correct.
Did you fall asleep shortly thereafter?
Soon after,
Within 5 minutes or so?
The sniffing isn't away.
I started to doze off. I don't know exactly how soon after I fell asleep.
All right. Sometime within 5 or 10 minutes, would you say?
I would say more like within 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
I know a lot of people
So,
think
with regard to getting home, and we'll call it 12:19 because
drugs, but it's also
and I
allergy
understand
season.
that it's
Let's
just
put it
an-
that way. A
Um,
lot of
if
allergies
you're
right
walking in
now.
the door at 12:19, it takes you maybe a minute to get upstairs.
Spring.
1 minute,
You kicked off your sneakers downstairs, I imagine.
maybe. I don't remember. That was a long time.
I get
And then
allergies
you
now.
walked up 2 flights of stairs.
Probably ran up the stairs because I was cold.
Okay. All right. So you get up there around 12:20 or so, correct?
Roughly, yeah.
And you believe that you dozed off about 15 minutes later, which would have made it about 12:35.
Somewhere around there.
Now, when you came home, you would agree with me that your son, Colin Albert, was not home, correct?
Not when I first got home.
And in fact, I think your testimony was that 10 minutes after you got home, he opened the bedroom door.
I think that's what I said. Yeah.
Do you want to stick with that?
I'm just trying to recollect what I, thinking it over. So obviously it was a little bit longer.
Because you actually woke up when he opened the bedroom door, correct?
I
One
don't
thing
think
we
so.
know is he's nervous.
you
You see
not
the
just
ear
testify
one?
before
That
this
was
jury?
weird.
Just, I don't know, maybe an hour ago, that you fell asleep and that your son, Colin, opened the bedroom door and woke you up to say goodnight.
He's allergic to the cross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's what I said.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
when you testified to that on direct examination, that was when Mr. Lally was asking you questions, correct?
Correct.
And you knew that you were under oath at that time, correct?
Correct.
And you were trying to be as accurate as possible. Correct?
Trying to be correct.
All right. So in terms of the timing of this, assuming that he opened the bedroom door after you already fell asleep, if you're getting home upstairs to your bedroom around 12:20 and it takes you 15 minutes to go to bed, and that's around 12:35, then sometime after you're asleep, after 12:35, that's when Colin opens the bedroom door, correct?
I don't remember exactly.
Well, it's difficult for you to remember how long you've been asleep for when Colin opened the bedroom door, correct?
Him and his wife had
Correct.
different answers too
You know, it
about
was 5 minutes,
where
10
he
minutes, or no,
undressed
correct?
in too.
I don't know exactly,
Right. But it was sometime after you fell asleep.
to the best of my recollection.
Now, with regard to your son Colin, he obviously lived in the same neighborhood as John O'Keefe because that's where your family lives, correct?
Correct.
And back in 2022, Colin Albert was 17 years old.
Correct. Out of the year.
And you knew that, like most teenagers, Colin drank alcohol with his buddies, correct?
Correct.
Can you explain for the jury who or what is Nevercracker?
What is Nevercracker?
Yes,
Like the character?
that's what I'm asking.
It's a character in a cartoon called Monster House.
And would you agree with me that Nevercracker in the movie Monster House was this kind of old curmudgeon who didn't want anybody on his lawn, correct?
The character, yes.
He was the get off my lawn guy, correct?
So this
In
is
the movie, yeah.
masterful. He breaks down the timeline, shows that Chris got home much later than initially reported. Breaks it down with video documentation, time stamped, with Chris's own words on how long it would take to walk home from the location. Nails him on that, and then goes to this other BS about the nickname that they used to call John O'Keefe. I don't know about you, but I wasn't buying their story. I wasn't buying what they were trying to sell at all. I thought this was great for the defense. I'm not sure that John O'Keefe ever bought the kid candy either.
Yeah.
What was your nickname and your wife Julie's nickname for John O'Keefe?
Mr. Nevercracker.
All right. And your wife Julie actually had John O'Keefe plugged into his contacts as Nevercracker, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you were there one time when Julie showed Karen Reed, her phone to show how John O'Keefe was plugged in as Nevercracker, correct?
I believe so.
And this whole nickname started because of a conflict that Colin Albert had with John O'Keefe.
Not correct.
John O'Keefe complained to you about things that Colin was doing.
Not correct.
He would tell you that Colin used to throw beer cans or beer bottles in his bushes, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. That is not correct.
John O'Keefe told you that Colin used to flip him off, correct?
Not correct.
And say F you to him.
Never.
Colin used to cut through his yard.
See, we predicted this. I said that he may be asked about the beer cans. He was, but he denied it. And he changed it to the younger son to make it, to my opinion, to make it seem more like John was a dick. And that John recognized it, and it was more John. This is, do you see the pattern with the Alberts so far? It was the neighbor's fault. They reached in to try to break up the dog fight. It was their fault they got bit. It was John's fault. He picked on the younger Albert child. He had to buy candy for the child to make up. He had to provide some tribute to that young child. I don't think the jury's going to buy it. I really don't.
Nope, that was Dylan.
You knew that John didn't like people cutting through his yard, correct?
No, I don't know that to be true.
Okay. So is it your testimony that John O'Keefe invited kids to cut through his lawn all the time?
I don't understand. Was that a question?
It was a question. I guess let me withdraw that and ask this. If John O'Keefe is never,
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think anyone's yelling at a young kid like that.
are you denying that he doesn't like people cutting
Doesn't
through his lawn?
sound plausible.
Do you want me? Can I explain?
I just asked for an answer to my question. Mr. Lally will get up after I'm done, and I'm sure you can explain whatever you want.
So no, he's not a no.
All right. Well, you would agree with me that there was a time when John O'Keefe was not home, that you and your wife Julie went to his house.
That is correct.
And you entered onto his property, correct?
On his front property, yes.
And you had drinks in your hand.
Correct.
And you thought it would be funny to have a photo taken of you and your wife with drinks in your hand on his property, correct?
Correct.
And you knew it would be funny because you knew it would annoy him, correct?
Objection. Yeah, he was actually asking
Grab
us to watch
the
his house
air
while he was
again,
away.
right? You see the grab the air
That
again?
doesn't answer my question, which was,
You see that? You got to ask that question. Grab the air. Little nervous, Chrissy. Little nervous, Chrissy. Chrissy got a little nervous. We got these Fs on the road. I didn't even have to get pumped up tonight to do a show on my own. I'm just chilling and smiling and happy. Just play the video, dude. Just play the video. Look at you. So done. This shit is over. It hasn't even started. It's over. Oh, Chrissy. Poor Chrissy, baby. Yeah. You want to threaten me again, buddy? Little punk ass. Yeah, what's so funny now, Chrissy? I'm laughing my ass off at you, you fucking, threaten me. You know who intimidated these Fs? They were trying to intimidate me. Not so funny now, huh, Chrissy? I can't wait till you're not a witness. That's what I'm looking forward to, buddy. When you're not a witness. That's when the fucking fun game begins. You won't be a witness forever, buddy. Then what are you going to do? You're going to hire protection from our mean words?
He didn't ask you to go onto his property with drinks in your hand and take a photo, correct?
He asked us to watch the property.
Okay, but again, in answer to my question, the answer is no, he did not ask us to go on his property and take pictures of ourselves with drinks in our hand, correct?
Yeah, he didn't ask me to send him a photo.
And
Yeah, he didn't ask for this, did he? He didn't ask for this, Chris. He didn't ask for this. Big surprise.
Character? Never cracker?
yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
Next question, please.
Yes. May I approach? Yes. Mr. Albert, I place two photographs before you. If you take a look at those and tell the jury if you recognize what they depict.
I do.
What do those photos depict?
It's me and my wife straddling John's fence. We're giving a thumbs up in one of them and a smile in another one.
Okay. And you say John's fence, so that's actually on John's property, correct?
Yeah, his wife
Part of it
will
is, yeah. I mean, I
always
don't know what
be
the easement is from the
remembered
street
for
to the fence as
Bukkake.
ownership goes, but yeah, I know the town owns a certain portion of it.
Would you agree with me that that photo was taken in April of 2021?
I got to stop right there. This was one of the best moments ever. When his wife referred to State Police Officer Yuri Buchanan as Yuri Bukkake several times. And then when Brian Albert got on the stand and wouldn't say Buchanan's last name, you just call him Yuri because he wouldn't take the chance that he would use the word Bukkake, which shows they all watch Turtle Boy religiously every night. And probably, I know this show too because they've heard it on the show. They all watch these shows. They watch The Glera. They watch myself. They definitely watch everything Turtle Boy. I'm guaranteed they watch Sean on the Golf too and Melanie Little, LTL. They watch them all. Thanks for the listen, guys. McAlberts, don't drop off. Keep listening.
I'm not sure when it was taken, but if that's what you have for a date, then it's fine.
Okay. Who took that picture?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Where was your son Colin that night when you had that picture?
I have no idea.
Would you agree with me that you texted those photos or somebody texted those photos, whether it was you or your wife Julie, to John O'Keefe?
Absolutely.
And those are fair and accurate representation of photos that you took?
Yeah.
All right. I would offer those, Your Honor.
All right, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
And with the court's permission, may they be published for the jury?
Okay.
With regard to that first photo, is that, well, first of all, whose house is that in the background?
That's John's.
And that is you on the right and your wife Julie on the left?
Correct.
We have the second photo?
This is a great.
Daphne here has finally
Oh, no,
stopped
not
scooting.
this shit again. Sorry, Rose. There we go. Here's the photo we've been waiting for. Yeah, they definitely watch this too. Great comment, Tommy. Thank you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off the ads, maybe if I can on that video. Which video is it?
Now, Mr. Albert, you were asked some questions about being selectman. Were you selectman at the time on January 28th, 2022?
No,
About how long after that was it that you became?
sometime in April that the election was over. April, second week in April, maybe.
So that photograph that you were shown with respect to yourself and the former Chief Berkowitz of the Virginia Police, when was that?
It was a fundraiser, so it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks before the election. So January, February, March something, end of March maybe.
So well after January 28th, 2022.
Yes,
And you were asked some questions about your brother selling the house. Now, prior to your brother selling the house, you had sold your house, right?
correct.
And why was that?
Why was that? It just made sense for us. You know, it was just a financial decision.
Kids were getting older, is that correct?
Yeah.
One was in the Navy.
Yep.
Another was about to go to college.
Correct.
And what, if any, relation did that have to your brother selling the house?
So once he found out that I was selling
Objection. I'm going on.
once he found out I was selling my house, he decided that it might be a good idea for him to sell his house. His kids were getting older. So I gave him my real estate's number, the guy who sold my house.
And that selling the house, was that something that you had discussed with your brother prior to January 28th, 2022?
Yes, and
Let's move on from that.
Now, with regards,
All right, just want to take a quick second to thank Venmo donation we just received from Kathy. She says, "Love your stream. Keep up the good work. We got a long trial ahead. I love that you are on when others are not. Great hours. We try. I think we're gonna have some competition tomorrow night, 6 p.m. I think Sean McDonough and our show are gonna be on at the same time, unfortunately. But you know, you can always watch it later. You can always catch the rerun." And just start later, you know? Or you can play them both at the same time. That's what a lot of people do. Go back and forth. That's what I do a lot of times. Now, I want to thank you so much for that donation, Kathy. Very generous. All right, let's play a little more video. Keep going.
regard to your son Colin when he came home that night, you indicated.
And I also want to thank this gentleman here,
10 minutes after I jumped into bed.
Now, with reference to
Tommy.
Your son Colin, you came home, saw him that night, correct?
When he came home?
Yes.
Yeah, he just leaned his head in the door.
And when he leaned his head in the door, did you, similar to what I had asked you about Mr. O'Keefe, did you observe any sort of injuries or anything like that to his face?
No.
Saw your son the next day as well?
Yes.
Did you observe any injuries to him at any point?
None.
In time? And you mentioned that you went over to your brother Brian Albert's house and both he and Mr. Higgins were there, correct?
Correct.
As far as your interactions with both Brian Albert and Brian Higgins that following day, what any injuries did you observe on them?
None.
Now, with regard to the Nevercracker, what was sort of the origination of that?
It's a joke. It's so my son Dylan.
It's
who
a
is my littlest
joke.
one,
It's funny.
he was
That's what
talking-
all bullies say. It's just a joke. So Barbara also sent $25 on the Cash App. Thank you so much, Barbara. She says, for a great show. Thank you so much, Barbara. But you notice all bullies always say it's just a joke. It's funny. Can't you take the joke? Can't you take the joke? Grabbing the air again. This seems like his wicked tell. When he's really uncomfortable, when he's going to tell a lie, grab the air. Grab that ear, Chris. Grab it. Look at him. Strange, man. You think the jury picked up on that? I think they definitely did.
across John's lawn one day, coming home from school. Walking. This was
Yanking
before
it.
John had a fence that went this way on
Yanking
Pleasant Street, so it would just cut off like a couple of minutes. He ran across John's lawn one day. This is my littlest son, who
Definitely
I don't
is.
even know at the
Cal.
time. He might have been like 9, 10. I'm not sure exactly how old he was. And John yelled something
Jesus
to him. Hey,
Christ,
kid, get off
it
my
feels
lawn.
like it's gonna
so
fall
John was just making a
off.
joke. So Dylan got scared. He ran home and told my wife Julie, and then Julie in
Yank
turn
that
called
thing, bro.
I think Sid called Jen maybe and said, "Hey, John just yelled at Dylan," and I think Jen reached out to John, and John felt terrible. And John came down the street. John asked what kind of candy Dylan liked, and John brought Dylan a bag of candy and just said, "Hey, I was just kidding." It was just so from that point on, we called him Mr. Nevercracker, and it was a joke between John. John thought it was
It's
funny.
just a joke. John thought it was funny. I don't think so,
Yeah.
dude.
Correct.
A wax issue.
Yeah.
did he respond to those photographs?
He thought it was hilarious. We actually showed him and other people that photo too. They thought it was funny.
We showed other people. We showed other people. That's what you do when you have a joke with your friend. You show other people too. That's totally not being a bully. That's, showing other people is not. That's not what mean girls do. They don't talk behind your back with other people, right? I mean, what kind of shit is this, dude? It's like fucking third grade. Showing other people. We had to show other people how much funny we were making fun of Johnny. Johnny.
So after you sent the text message as far as to come over here and then made the reference to launch, so he came over to what?
Yeah, he came over after.
All right, you are all set, Mr. Albert.
Thank you.
We're going to take a recess. It's not going to be it's not going to be too long to come in.
I love this point. M says that's the only point he looked honest, though. He must have practiced that well. How true is that? His lips are moving. He must be lying. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's watch a little more.
What sort of tradition do you have with respect to him?
Every year on his birthday, I go to Dunkin' Donuts to get him 6 donuts, and I bring them to the house, and I leave them there with a card before he gets up. So when he wakes up, they're there. I've been doing it for years.
What a ritual. You get him Dunkin' Donuts with a card. Man. These people are very healthy. They buy, no wonder why they don't have any money. They buy everyone Dunkin' Donuts on their birthday, and they buy Fireball shots on Friday nights for all their friends at the bar. I wonder why they can't pay their taxes. It's all those Dunkin' Donuts on their birthday.
And is that what you're
Fireball shots on Friday night.
Yes.
Now, when you woke up, probably like most people, at some point did you look at your phone?
Yes.
And when you looked at the screen to your phone, what, if anything, did you see?
I had a missed call from my friend Jen McCabe.
And was there any sort of location in regard to missed calls to what time that missed call come in?
It was 5:55 maybe?
So sometime earlier in the morning.
Early morning, yes.
And beyond the missed call, was there any other sort of stamp or notification on the phone as far as voicemail, text message?
Nope. No, there was not.
And not from Ms. McKay, correct?
Correct.
And not from anybody else?
Correct.
And at any point in time on that morning over the phone, did you speak with Ms. McKay?
No, I did not.
And did you call her? So you didn't call her back or anything like that?
I did not.
And so after you wake up, at some point you go to Dunkin' Donuts and get the 6 donuts?
Yes.
And where did you go?
I drove to 34 Fairview.
And when you arrived at 34 Fairview, where did you park in relation to the house?
I pulled into the driveway.
And when you came up to the house and you were driving to the house at this point, what was the weather like?
It was coming down. The snow was coming down pretty good.
And with reference to the house, what, if anything, did you notice out of the ordinary with regard to the house or the street or anything?
Jennifer McCabe's car was in the driveway.
And as far as any other vehicles on the street or anything like that, what was going on at that house?
I don't recall.
Seriously, no one really likes Dunkin' for the donuts either.
8:30, 9 o'clock, 8:30, around that.
And when you get there, you pull in the driveway.
Much better donut shops.
I opened my car door. I got out to walk to the car in front of me to leave the donuts and card inside my nephew Brian's car. And Brian Albert came to the door. Brian Albert Sr. came to the door, and he told me to asked me to come in for a second. And I said that I didn't need to. And he said, I'm just leaving this gift for Brian Jr. And he said, no, just come in for a second. So I went into the house.
And when you walked into 34 Fairview Road on that morning, was anyone else?
Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, Jennifer McCabe, and Matt McCabe.
And where were they in relation to the house?
In the kitchen.
And what, if anything, did they tell you at that time?
When I first walked in, nothing. Everyone was just sitting there, and I was looking around, and everyone was visibly upset. And I asked, what's going on? And another maybe 30 seconds went by, and Jen said, something's happened to John. And I said, John, she said, John O'Keefe. And I said, is he okay?
Objection.
No, I'm going to allow it.
I said, is he okay? And she said, we don't know.
And after hearing that information, how long were you at your brother and sister-in-law's house?
Probably about half hour, 45 minutes, maybe.
And where did you go from there?
I went home to wake my husband up to let him know what had happened.
And at some point after you go home and wake up your husband, where did you and your husband go?
We went back to I woke up my husband, told him what had happened, and we went back to Fairview.
And so the second time that you had gone back to Fairview, how long period of time were you there then?
I would say probably half hour, not long.
And then after that half hour or so, where'd you go after?
Back home to my house.
Now, during either of those occasions when you were at 34 Fairview Road on the morning of the 29th. You had occasion to
Not that there aren't a couple donuts I like at Dunkin's,
Yes.
but there are
and some of the
much
questions
better
asked with regard to
shops.
O'Keefe and your son Colin. What, if any, injuries or anything out of place did you note?
Yeah, what is the point of that? Exactly.
Nothing that I saw.
And, same question with respect to Mr. Higgins, as far as you made observations and spoke at least in the same room as him on that morning.
Yes.
Protecting the McAlberts is a lot of this testimony.
Nothing.
That's what it seems like.
When you woke up, your husband that next morning, your other two sons, being Colin and Dylan, they were at home still?
Yes, they were at home still asleep.
And with regards to when you went to Fairview, came back with your husband, went back to Fairview, and then came back again.
Yep.
still asleep?
I mean, the longer we watch this, I don't have a lot of time tonight. I'm probably going to drop off in a couple minutes.
Either of your sons come back
But I
home
want to
or-
thank everyone for listening
they did not.
and watching.
Do you recall whether or not either
And the
Colin or
more
Dylan
you
made-
watch this, the more it seems so obvious that they're covering up stuff, that they have attitude. And we're just getting started. I think Brian Albert on Monday morning is going to be something
At
else
some point,
tomorrow
days
morning.
After this, did you have occasion to meet with a couple troopers from the state police?
Yes, I did. They came to my home.
When you say they, how many of them?
There were two.
And you spoke to them that day in reference to what you would observe at the waterfall, everything.
Now, I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to play some of the compilation video that we played earlier, showing how they always conflict in their statements. Can't keep their stories straight. They're not prepared. It's interesting that these two here, Chris and his wife, changed their timeline from what Proctor wrote in the report. Proctor said in the report that it seemed to indicate it's very clumsily written, so you can't even tell if that was Proctor's intent, but it seemed like his intent was to say that Chris and his wife went to 34 Fairview that night. And it seems like maybe they've changed their testimony on the stand here because they know that the feds know. And why would they say they were at 34 Fairview? Because it would back who wasn't there, right? And how many people, and the more numbers you have that say he didn't come in the house. So it's interesting that they've changed too their story, it seems. Proctor's reports are so crappy. Intolerant became a YouTube member tonight. Thank you so much, Intolerant. Awesome. Love new members. Thank you so much. But so much of their testimony was conflicting. Whether the Canton police came in the house or they stayed in the foyer. Whether they sat down at the table, the kitchen table, or they stayed in the foyer. Little things like that. A lot of conflicting stories. And a lot of things that were obviously not true. I can't imagine tomorrow. Again, tomorrow night we'll be at 6 p.m. with a defense attorney, and we'll be talking about the day's testimony. We'll start at 9 a.m. streaming live the testimony tomorrow. We're expecting Brian Albert back on the stand. He's going to get cross-examined by Alan Jackson. It's going to be amazing. Hope everyone has a good night. I want to thank people for contributing and supporting us. I think I read all the Cash Apps tonight. Let me just make sure. Yes, I did. And I just checked Venmo one more time. I want to thank you all for listening, supporting, subscribing. The new subscribers, it's awesome to see the number of new people. And we've got a lot more great shows, content. Trying to go every night. For people who are just following me, I've been a journalist, an activist, basically. I started out as an activist for 20 years, basically, and been more of a journalist over the last so many years. I've had a podcast or live streaming show for a number of years. The YouTube channel I've had for about 2 years now for the Young Jerks. It's probably the second or third one. We've had different networks behind us and things. So things have changed immensely. We're solo. I'm solo now. I run everything myself, and have my solo channel, the YouTube, the Young Jerks. And we just broke 10,000 subs on YouTube, which seemed pretty big for us. Now we're like 11,000, like a day or two later. Like, it's amazing the growth that's going on here. So number of new people. I also want to let you know, like, I'm not super professional guy. I'm not trying to be that. I was a financial advisor for like 10 years. I walk dogs for a living. I have a dog walking business. I really love it. I love being home. And I love dogs, and I love working what I do and having no stress and feeling good about myself. I pride myself as being a man of the people. So if it doesn't feel as polished as other shows and you don't like that, that's fine. We all have our different flavors. I am a man of the people, but I also have some intelligence. I'm book smart. I test well. I got a bachelor's degree. I'm not a PhD or anything, but I'm not a dummy. But I'm not like Mr. Slick or Mr. Smooth. I'm not trying to have the best presentation. I'm just me. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But what I like is this community. We have a great community here, and I love dogs. Yeah, and I have done a lot of journalism. I've interviewed an amazing number of politicians over the years, from U.S. senators, 4 U.S. Congress people. I've probably, done maybe a half dozen or a dozen different mayors of big cities. Like, I've interviewed a lot of interesting people. But what I love is this Karen Reed stuff. So we're going to continue on it, and I'm going to play a little video to close the show. I appreciate all the support, the new, the old, the people who have known me forever for 20 years, sticking with me. A lot of people have been sticking with me. I really appreciate them the most. But I also love all the new people. And I love the people in the chat, and I love the women here, especially. We have a lot of women who follow the Young Jerks and myself, and I really appreciate it. I also love all the other creators out there, like especially the Galera. Sometimes he comments on here. He gave some memberships the other night, or gave a donation or something. He's amazing. I love that guy. I watch him all the time, Will. And obviously I love Turtle Boy. He got me all into this. The guy gave me a panic attack the first time he came on my show, but it was good. I mean, I've gotten a lot of shit, but I also owe a lot to Turtle Boy, I gotta say. I like Aiden and Melanie Little and Sean McDonough. There's so many others I could mention. I'm probably leaving some out, but I love all the other creators out there, the people on YouTube. Olivia Lambo, who posts and comments and listens to the show a lot. She's amazing. I share a lot of her stuff. A lot of the people on X and Twitter, with so many good Twitter accounts that follow the case and provide information for a lot of the creators, the YouTube personalities like me. We go to them for info. We repost it, and it's just such a great thing that's going on here. You don't see it every day. It's once in a lifetime. Someone said Turtle Boy is streaming right now. No, I thought he was going at 9 p.m. tonight. Oh, yes, he's streaming tonight. That's right. Turtle Boy is going to be on tonight at 9 p.m. And I think right now LTL's on too with Justin Machado. So I don't feel bad. Oh, Brandy Churchwell is another one. She's awesome. She's been on the show a couple times. I love her. There's so many good creators on this Karen Reed side. Yeah, so maybe I will. I'll redirect everyone. Go check out LTL. He's going to have Jessica Machado on tonight, I think right now. I would definitely check that out. I'm going to check that out too. And hopefully we'll get her back on the show. I also reached out to Sue O'Connell. We may have her on the show upcoming. But tomorrow night we have criminal defense attorney, who everyone wants to see, Mark Betterow. He's going to be commenting on all day testimony tomorrow. I want to thank everybody. Keep it going, people. Keep it going. No, we're winning. There's no turning back. They got no chance now. Be proud you supported this. It's once in a lifetime.
Good, and I observed that there was now a light on in the house of 34 Fairview, and we made the decision to then go in and speak with the homeowners.
Who, if anyone, did you speak with inside the home that morning?
Brian Albert and Nicole Albert.
Where did they go once you opened the door?
So he came in the house, and I believe around the same time Jennifer's husband, Matt, had come. I assume she had called him or whatever. So it was me, Brian, and Jen and Matt, and Officer Lang said, can I come in? Can I talk to you guys? And we said, sure, absolutely. He came in, we sat at the table, and he was just kind of asking us all, okay, where were you last night?
Where did you speak to them within the home?
Just inside the door by the staircase.
And beyond that, who, if anyone else, did you see within the home besides yourself, Sergeant Goods, and Mr. and Mrs. Albert?
Jennifer McCabe.
So you and Detective Sergeant Lang go into the home at 34 Fairview, and who, if anyone, did you speak to in there?
Mr. Albert, Mrs. Albert, Brian, and Nicole.
And who, if anyone else, was present in the home when you spoke with them?
When I was in there, I know Jen was in there, but we didn't speak to her because we already spoke to her, but we just spoke to Brian and Nicole right in the front room.
She said that the police were downstairs.
And so you went downstairs to talk to the police?
Yes.
And when you go downstairs, what do you see when you get to sort of the bottom of the stairs?
I saw a Canton police officer downstairs.
So inside your house at that point?
Yes.
And the Canton police officer that's inside your home, did you recognize him?
Yes.
And who did you recognize him?
Last name Lank, so Officer Lank.
And initially, when you first see Officer Lang, is he by himself, or who, if any, other officers are with him?
I believe initially he was by himself.
Sergeant Good and I observed that there was now a light on in the house of 34 Fairview, and we made the decision to then go in and speak with the homeowners.
Did another officer join yourself and Officer Lang at some point?
Yes, I believe another officer came into the house.
Do you know who that officer is?
I don't. Yes, we spoke in the kitchen area.
At that point in time, I never made it past the front foyer area.
So the answer to my question is no, you did not.
I never made it past the front foyer area.
We just spoke to Brian and Nicole right in the front room.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting around the table. It was a little, everyone was, we're all in shock, and it was a little confusing.
And when you're speaking with the officer in the kitchen area, who is there?
So my wife Nicole, her sister Jen, and I believe Jen's husband Matt arrived almost the same time that I came downstairs, maybe a minute after.
That second conversation within your house, where did that?
Same area, family room, kitchen area.